TV star. From Philadelphia to Hollywood Boulevard. This ain't no music video. Take my hand, we'll go.
Okay, we're back. This past summer marked the 40-year anniversary of the legendary, groundbreaking, and controversial Midnight Cowboy. A lot of you out there may not know this, but Midnight Cowboy was and probably will be the only X-rated film to ever win an Oscar. A few of the original cast members made it to Philly to help celebrate the landmark occasion, including Sylvia Miles, Bob Balaban, Brenda Vaccaro, and this guy who met the late, great John Schlesinger on the set of Midnight Cowboy, fell in love, and after more than 40 years, continues to carry on his legacy. Here's my very special interview with Michael Childers.
All right, so I'm here with the fabulous Michael Childers. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hi, good to be in Philadelphia.
Yeah. You having fun this weekend?
It's a beautiful city. I've only been here once before, and that was with a broken-down Broadway musical years ago called Platinum, which was sort of Sunset Boulevard. We're with Alexis Smith. You're too young to remember that.
I mean, was it the 60s or?
It was Paramount Pictures, $12 million down the drain. But I had fun with Bob Mackie, who was doing the costume.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so Michael, you know, out of maybe the 22 or 23 celebrities that are here this week and next week, I'm actually the most nervous to talk to you because I just love photographers. You know, you're pretty eclectic because you have, you know, done photography for like the Royal Ballet and a lot of dance magazines and a lot of like really, you know, sort of high-end things, and then you kind of like turned and did Andy Warhol
Disco, you know, Cher, Donna Summer. Enough is enough. It's Raining Men.
Erotica, After Dark magazine. Like, yeah, so how do you
Love After Dark magazine. I wish it would come back. You know, they're doing a book called The Best of After Dark. And you know, Ken Duncan was the king of After Dark, but maybe I was the queen of After Dark. I don't know. They publish lots of new kids coming up who other magazines wouldn't publish. People I was photographing in New York, little 22-year-olds like John Travolta, Richard Gere, Susan Sarandon, Tom Berenger. Yeah, it was fun. It was a very innocent time. My work is like 95%. Silver gelatin, platinum prints, black and white. I love it. They called me Hollywood after Harrell, and I shot in a very glamorous style in that period in the 70s and 80s. I'm doing actually almost all digital now, and it's fun. Wow. Yeah, I just shot an old client the other day, Anne Margaret, out in the desert on our pink Harley Davidson, and it was all digital. She loved looking at the computer to see herself on a big screen instead of those tacky little Polaroids. I want to keep working. I'm working on my book now with a writer, and it's called And I Have the Pictures to Prove It. And I hope it'll be ready about a year from now. It's amazing photographs, most of which you've never seen before. And I talk about, you know, An Afternoon with Andy Warhol and Joe D'Alessandro, or I talk about Mel Gibson swimming nude in my pool with 4 girls trying to get him, lucky girls, you know, and wonderful things that happen. What it was like to work with O Calcutta in New York and London, and the premiere of Midnight Cowboy in London and Paris with all this crazy, wonderful people.
Did you first discover your passion for, you know, production and producing, you know, with Midnight Cowboy?
Well, I was in film school at UCLA, and I was making movies and doing a lot of little short films. My cameraman on one movie was Jim Morrison of The Doors. I mean, it was fun. It was a great time to be there. And then I met John Schlesinger. I was set up as a blind date. And I'd seen Darling about 18 times with Julie Christie, fell in love with the movie. And when I said, you can meet John Schlesinger tomorrow night if you go to the Beverly Wilshire Hotel for drinks, because he wants to meet some young people in Los Angeles. So I was sent there by Kay Ballard, who I call my aunt, sort of, and the rest is history, 36 years together with John Schlesinger. I fell in love with his spirit. He had a twinkle. He was funny, brilliant, mischievous, and it was sort of slow at first, but A Weekend in Carmel and crying with too much Chardonnay on the beach. It sounds like a Elizabeth Taylor,
so funny.
Taylor movie.
At any point in your career, did photography, take a back seat to films and producing and production and all that?
Well, I was passionate. John said, would you like to go to New York to work on a movie called Midnight Cowboy? And I said, well, is that a John Wayne Western? He said, hardly, my dear, hardly. And it was. I read it. It was the wildest damn thing I'd ever read, and it was so ahead of its time. I said, how can you make this movie? In fact, it was so far ahead of its time, this movie would never be made today by anybody, Midnight Cowboy came first, soon after Easy Rider, and all these great American breakthrough films, The Conversation, and just wonderful directors, Coming Home, and then it all ended about 8 years later with George Lucas and Spielberg did cartoon blockbusters, so films couldn't be serious, or and so that was the end of that.
And the very last question, are you seeing anybody these days?
I am so busy now, and Palm Springs is great because it's quiet, you can be left alone, and all my friends want to come and stay in my beautiful house. So I hope to see you out there for the film festival.
Fantastic. Michael Childers, thank you so much for talking to me.